Hi everybody, thank you for dropping in on Thursday's TNT. Appreciate you catching up with all the latest Thai news. Now yesterday we started with a quick look at a new live cam from 5 Star Marine that they've set up at their Boat Lagoon headquarters. That's live and there's a link in the description underneath if you'd like to catch up with that live weather. But I thought we might just check some of the other live cams. This is one at Hud Rin Beach in Phang Nga. Beautiful morning indeed as the waves of the Gulf of Thailand washing into Hud Rin Beach, which of course once a month turns into a quite different looking beach than that, but quite peaceful there. Quite a few live cams and we'll try and check up with them over the next few weeks and give you some links so you can see what the weather is really like in Thailand. See what you're missing out on if you're not here. So I thought what we'll do today is we'll start by checking out some of these stories that we've been covering over the last week, just some updates on those stories. I've got 4 stories to cover, and we'll start off with the big explosion just south of Bangkok in Samut Songkhram. And Thai PBS says that 8 bodies have been found after the oil tank fire, and the search continues for 1 more. Rescue teams recovered 5 out of 6 bodies found yesterday in the Meklong River, bringing the confirmed death toll in the oil tanker fire and explosion to 8. 1 is still missing. So it looks like there's going to be 9 people dead as a result of that huge explosion. Most of them were dock workers and most of them were Burmese. To our next update, and this from the Bangkok Post, Singaporean suspect is denied bail. The criminal court yesterday denied bail to a Singaporean held over alleged connections with the Forex 3D Ponzi scheme, and that's 32-year-old Daryl Yongui. So that's the latest arrest in the Forex 3D scam. Been going for 4 years. They're still after a Hungarian man, and that's wrested some 20 billion baht out of people, that particular scam. To our next update, and stung by recent scandals, the DSI chief has been transferred at his own suggestion. This is the Department of Special Investigations. Let's see what's happening with this story. And the Justice Minister has yesterday swapped the chiefs of 2 key agencies, the Department of Special Investigation and the Central Institute of Forensic Science. In a sudden transfer yesterday, the Justice Minister has moved the DSI Director General to Acting Director of the Central Institute of Forensic Science in place of the current person who's now taken over as the Acting DSI Chief. Now, in most places when there's somebody being moved or shuffled around, they'd usually be put on leave without pay, then there'd be an investigation. Then, pending the investigation, if there's any problems found, they could be charged, then arrested, and then a trial, and then thrown in jail if they are guilty. But here in Thailand, they sort of get shuffled around to desk jobs. So this person is going to arrive at his new desk today going, I've got absolutely no idea what's going on, who I'm meant to talk to, and the same with the guy that's been transferred into his job. I mean, I'm not sure how that helps the situation. Anyway, let's go to our next story, and Navy continues search for 5 missing Sukhothai crew. The Royal Thai Navy is continuing its search for the last 5 missing crew of the HTMS Sukhothai, a month after the vessel sank in the Gulf of Thailand. That coverage there from nationthailand.com. So let's now move into our main stories today, and I'm starting with this, and it's basically just an update. This is the public health measures for foreign travellers entering Thailand. Now, of course, a lot of people still wondering exactly what's going on. I get probably 10 or 20 messages still every day saying, can I come back to Thailand? I haven't been vaccinated. So just once and for all, this is the latest guidelines, and it's titled Public Health Measures for Foreign Travellers Entering Thailand, and proof of vaccination is no longer required. Travellers from the listed countries, now it would have been nice if they'd listed those countries, but I suppose they are changing from day to day. But those are the countries that are requiring negative PCR test results before departure from Thailand. They need to have health insurance covering at least 10,000 US for COVID treatment. Those with business arrangements, including flight crews and students, may have an official letter from their host. And then a quarantine officer would randomly check the proof of insurance of travellers. So random checks for those people that will be leaving Thailand and flying back to a place that currently requires a PCR test. Holders of Thai passports and transit transfer passengers are exempted from the health insurance checks. The airlines must adhere to related regulation and comply with guidance as appropriate, such as asking passengers to wear masks. A lot of people are contacting TNT saying they're not having to wear masks on planes, but it could be different airline to airline. So I'm sure if they demand it, that they'll provide you with one if you don't have one yourself. Any passengers having symptoms of COVID-19 on arrival shall be recommended to get a COVID-19 test on arrival. That's the latest on the arrival situation. So most people, the vast majority of people, will just cruise into Thailand, show their passport, get a stamp, and off you go. You're watching TNT with thanks to our sponsor, 5 Star Marine. If you'd like to head out on a private tour, if you're in the island of Phuket, which by the way is absolutely superb weather at the moment, then contact 5 Star Marine, and there's a link in the description of this video. Ongoing debate in the Cannabis Bill, and this is certainly one of those sagas that just keeps on going. And let's see what's been happening. The Cannabis Bill second reading House meeting collapsed yesterday again. A Palang Pracharat Party MP said there's no chance that the Cannabis Bill will ever pass its second reading in the House because of stiff opposition, primarily from Democrat, Pheu Thai and Move Forward parties, remembering that the Democrats are actually in the same coalition as Bumjai Thai, who proposed this bill, and there's also a lot of Palang Pracharat MPs who are against this bill proceeding. In the second paragraph, the MP said that even within the ruling Palang Pracharat Party, some MPs do not agree with the bill due to stiff resistance from Muslim communities and parent groups. Personally, he said he'd prefer MPs to vote in support of the bill in the second reading than to reject the bill in the final reading and then let the government decide whether it should be revived or dropped. So, yeah, the situation now, it's sort of still in this twilight zone where it hasn't passed the second reading and it could possibly come back for another second reading vote sometime soon. But I think, as I've said before, this cannabis bill is completely dead in the water. It won't go through this particular parliament, and it's up to the next government, whatever form that takes, to decide if they want to proceed with it or backtrack the whole thing. The Pheu Thai party leader said yesterday the House will continue to collapse every time the cannabis bill is to be debated or voted on. He said the party is willing to be criticised by the public for not attending House meetings to consider the cannabis bill. Let's go to the Bangkok Post and their coverage of this issue. Cannabis bill sidelined again. Meanwhile, a vocal supporter of cannabis-based medicine said there had been a deliberate attempt to stall the examination of the Cannabis and Hemp Control Bill, saying that some politicians did not want the bill passed into law so they could politicise the issue. So that story dragging on, which is no help to those people who have either invested in crops, invested in retail stores, or the people who actually use cannabis and want some clarity as to whether they're operating within the law or not. I've always said that the people who want to use cannabis will probably keep on using it, no matter what happens with this bill. And will it be recriminalised? I don't know. I suspect it probably will be, but they'll actually word it in such a way that it outlaws recreational use of cannabis, which I don't think at this stage has been made clear in the current bill. That's just my prediction. Of course, I could be completely wrong. Let's go to our next story today, and a bit more politics. No clear election timeline yet. This from Wisano Kriyanan, the Deputy PM, and he's outlining 3 scenarios. And he's basically a bit of a numbers man, a very wise and seasoned politician who's actually been part of the Thaksin governments in the past and currently part of the coalition government. A very good economic czar, I think he's been referred to in the past. And he's looking at the 3 different timelines for the next election. He's saying that, this is the second paragraph, that the House of Representatives could be dissolved before the end of the Parliament session on February the 28th. So the Prime Minister does have the option to dissolve the Parliament before the last session finishes on February the 28th. Second scenario, when the House is dissolved after the end of the parliamentary session, or the House continues to exist until it completes its full 4-year term on March the 23rd. So the Parliament wouldn't be sitting for that last month, but the election term finishes on March the 23rd. And that appears to be the favoured date at the moment. The Election Commission has tentatively set the election date for May the 7th under the third scenario. So most people do think that the Parliament will run to the end of its full parliamentary term, which would be March the 23rd, which means we'd have an election on May the 7th. A bit more on that story. And most political parties, he says, are already in full campaign mode. And this has been affecting the ability of the House to get its work done. In recent weeks, there's been frequent collapses of the House meetings due to a lack of a quorum. And then he goes on to talk about two bills that are still awaiting consideration by the Parliament, the draft bill on cannabis and also the same-sex unions bill. So again, a conservative government in Thailand looking to legalise same-sex unions. That's also awaiting consideration by the Parliament. Now, some comments from you over the past few days over different stories. We thought we'd pass those on. This one from Robert, who says, Tim, just a warning to the tourists visiting Phuket, and I dare say other parts of Thailand as well, that are hiring motorbikes. The police have checkpoints checking only foreigners for licenses to ride and helmet. Just reminding people that legally, if you want to ride a motorbike in Thailand, you have to have either a Thai motorbike license, not a car license, a motorbike license, or a motorbike license in your home country and an international driver's permit for that license. He goes on to say the fine is 1,000 Thai baht, used to be 500 baht, and they keep your ID until you've paid at the Patong police station. I've seen them at both ends of Bangla Road and at Kalim on the road to Kamala. So if you do hire a motorbike whilst you're in Thailand, you've got to have a motorbike license. It's as simple as that. If you fall off, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Obviously, you're going to be hurt. You get to hospital and your hospital or travel insurance is not going to cover your costs while you're in hospital. Another message here from Richard Hughes, no TM6, but remember to register where you're staying within 24 hours. I was fined 500 Thai baht at local immigration office when I went to get my extension. Okay, so when you arrive in Thailand, you're meant to register at the property you're staying at. 99 times out of 100, the property does that. But it might just be worth asking them, especially if you're at like an Airbnb or a smaller guest house, to just ask them, have they done the TM6 report to immigration? So thanks, Richard, for that. And this next one is from Expats in Thailand, the Facebook page. Just arrived from KL to Bangkok airport, and we were questioned about what we were doing in Thailand, how long we'll stay, where we work, etc. She also said we can't stay here longish. We even had to write out on paper all Airbnb bookings. We managed to get a 45-day stamp and exit the airport. This is my second time entering Thailand, and it's been 10 days since we exited Thailand for the first time. So just to clarify that currently, if you come from one of those visa-exempt countries where you get the visa waiver, you can come in, you get a 45-day stamp, extendable by another 30 days. 75 days in total. People think, great, so I can then go across the border to Cambodia or Laos or Malaysia, and then I can come back instantly or maybe the next day and get another 45 days plus 30 days. Well, at the moment, officially, they're saying that you can only do that twice in a calendar year, and also that when you do it, you have to fly in and out of Thailand. You can't do it as a land border run. Having said that, people are going across the borders and finding they can come back and get another 45-day stamp. But it does depend to a certain extent on the people at the checkpoint and how they're feeling on the day. Just be aware that there is a general crackdown on border runs and these visas, and that if you want to then extend those or change them to non-immigrant B visas or some sort of other visa, that they are checking the fine print a lot more than they used to in the past. A lot of people being rejected for applications. Been speaking to visa agents and people in immigration over the past 2 or 3 weeks, and there are big problems for a lot of people. They're getting a lot of applications at the moment. The time to process those applications is dragging out, and if you need to do it, I'm suggesting at the moment you probably need to get a visa agent involved to cross the T's, dot the I's. Just for your own peace of mind. So just something to be aware of. Quick story now from Thailand Posts English. Now this website does mostly just do a quick Google translation, so sometimes the words don't quite make sense, but I think the story is worth covering anyway. Launched and provided the first drone delivery service in Thailand in Phuket. Let's have a quick look at this drone service. So it's delivering stuff from a supermarket, and they've been doing tests, and yesterday they did their first test flight, if you like. So let's have a look at this drone. Now this is a very big drone indeed, so I thought it was quite interesting to see whether this would be possible. I'm thinking that with these drone deliveries there are all sorts of problems, especially in Thailand. Firstly, of course, would be anything within the proximity of the airport could be particularly difficult, although I suppose they're not flying particularly high. Also, when they're landing in a lot of areas, a lot of it is very close and dense residential areas. And you know what the wiring's like in Thailand. There's wires everywhere, and I would have thought wires and drones don't get along particularly well. But anyway, let's have a look at a few details. So a collaboration between Boat Patana Villa Market and Avion Robotics. And the idea is to create a commercial delivery service to residences legally. And they did a test flight from Villa Market Boat Avenue to the Shambhala Grand Villas. Well, I used to work around that area, and that is a journey of approximately 200 metres, maybe 300 metres. So their test journey, their test flight was very, very short indeed. I think you're just going to need places, if you're going to land these drones, that have got enough space to land them safely. A bit like a helicopter pad, but of course smaller. You can't just land them in front of any old house anywhere in Thailand. So they're looking to fly a payload of up to 10 kilograms to a distance of 15 kilometres. So certainly a lot further than their test drive yesterday. But good luck to everybody. I just can see a lot of problems, especially whilst motorbikes remain so plentiful and cheap, and that the whole delivery system for motorbikes is well established. It's going to be a difficult project to get going, but good luck to them. And obviously some areas are more inaccessible to even motorbikes, and maybe that's where the drones will come into some use. Thank you very much to 5 Star Marine, our ongoing sponsor. You can check out their live webcam in our description. Thank you to you for dropping in today. Please subscribe to the channel as you're passing through, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.